Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter Podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Ringside Reporter Show. Listen, it is Wednesday, Beeb. It's Mexican Independence Day, baby.
Arriba la raza.
That's right. La Raza is in the house. So you knew we had to do something pretty big to get on here on a Wednesday because, it is Wednesday. It's a big party day, Mexican Independence Day, Beeb. So we found this article. Article was published today, actually yesterday, Tuesday, September 15th, by Kevin Iole for Yahoo Sports. And stunning allegations in the Canelo Alvarez case versus Oscar De La Hoya. So just to take you through a little bit of this, it is stunning. And we had a lot of, let me tell this, is that like last week or Sunday when we were doing our show, we had a lot of like assumptions because we weren't privy to the docket or anything. We weren't privy to the case or anything like that. So we did have a lot of assumptions on what was going on, what was said and everything like that. I'll tell you what, a lot of those have kind of come true here. So let's go through this kind of line by line here. First, the suit alleges that De La Hoya gave the final right to approve Alvarez's opponents to both Alvarez and DAZN. Alvarez had the right in his October 17th agreement. Alvarez had that right in his October 17th agreement. He signed with Golden Boy, but the suit alleges DAZN acquired that right in its deal with Golden Boy that was finalized on October 11th in exchange for the right to broadcast Alvarez's fights. Sources said that Alvarez was furious when he discovered that, and the DAZN deal nearly fell apart at the last minute. Notably, the Alvarez contract did not mention that DAZN would have any right to accept or reject any opponents selected by Alvarez. This is written by Kevin Iole and Yahoo Sports. Beeb, that first one where the suit alleges that De La Hoya gave the final right to approve Alvarez's opponents to both Alvarez and DAZN, and then the suit alleges that DAZN acquired the rights in his deal with Golden Boy. So basically, they're saying that Alvarez doesn't choose his own fights, that they have the final say, not Alvarez. That's what the lawsuit is alleging, and that's basically, that was part one. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
But here's the problem. De La Hoya negotiated that with DAZN. Now, Canelo has an entirely separate contract because the fighter doesn't. This is what people don't understand. They sit there and say, "Oh, well, Floyd signed to Showtime. Canelo signed to DAZN." No, Canelo signed to Golden Boy. Golden Boy has the deal with DAZN. So essentially, you're fighting on that network because your promoter has that deal with the broadcaster.
Right.
So the fighter has the contract with the promoter has the contract with the broadcaster. So Canelo can win this case if he just sues De La Hoya and leaves DAZN out of the lawsuit. Because again, DAZN doesn't have anything to do with Canelo, aside from the fact that they broadcast his fights. It's not up to them to pay him. The promoter pays him with the money they pay the promoter. So that's the problem here. This is the issue. And if this is how De La Hoya screws up all the time, because he doesn't know how to interpret his own contracts, or he doesn't even understand his own contracts, because in the contract that Canelo has with Golden Boy, it says that Canelo has the right to choose and refuse opponents.
Well, and I think it's fair to say, obviously, Oscar doesn't write his own contracts. We all know that. But you got to wonder how involved he is with this. If he's telling him, again, because he doesn't write his own contracts, he's got his lawyers and everything. Does he tell his lawyers, hey, this is the way it should be, and he's telling Canelo one thing or DAZN one thing? But when I read that, I thought that was a pretty big deal, man. And I remember hearing something about, don't you remember hearing something about when this whole thing, that it was like minutes away from being done, where they I remember something about that where this deal almost fell apart. I remember something about this deal almost fell apart. And I think I read it after the fact that the deal almost didn't actually come out with the DAZN thing because he was ticked about that. They don't get along.
Well, here's the thing. If for whatever reason Canelo ends his relationship with Golden Boy, that essentially ends the relationship with DAZN.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
That's what people don't like. Like, that's why this fight could go to purse bids with the Vildrum fight, whatever.
Yeah.
Because again, it doesn't seem like there's a first right of refusal deal. Like it's if Golden Boy can't offer him a fight and it goes to purse bids, then he's well within his rights to fight on another network.
Well, and it says here, okay, so the second kind of thing that the allegation in the that kind of made its way through here, they said came on. They're very specific to paragraph 31 of the lawsuit. Okay, makes a considerable allegation against De La Hoya, and it reads the following: the Alvarez contract required Golden Boy to pay Alvarez guaranteed payments totaling $365 million for his next 11 boxing matches, $15 million for the December 2018 bout with Rocky Fielding, and $35 million for each of his next 10 bouts thereafter. Expected to be on or about May 5th or September 16th of the years 2019 through 2023, pursuant to Alvarez contract. Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions CEO, personally assumed liability for all guaranteed payments. I want to read that last part again, and I want you to think about it. Pursuant to the Alvarez contract, Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions CEO, personally assumed liability for all guaranteed payments. What that essentially means is that Oscar De La Hoya, it's kind of like if you vouch for somebody, you know what I mean? That's exactly, if you want to get like old school with this, if somebody owes you money, is, hey, listen, I'll vouch for him, then you're on the hook for that money too. All right, you have to pay. So De La Hoya is actually, on the hook. This basically means, hey, De La Hoya could be on the hook for 280 large, man.
Because here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Thank you very much, Ohio Runs Boxing. We appreciate it, man. Thank you.
If De La Hoya cannot produce Alvarez to DAZN, can't offer him up to DAZN for fights, and his relationship with Canelo dissolves and it's gone, then you think DAZN's going to keep giving
somebody's on the hook for that.
That 40 million stops, because that's contingent upon you giving us Alvarez, to fight on our so we can broadcast him on our network. Once that stops, the 40 million stops, and guess what?
You're still on the hook for it because you vouched for him.
Golden Boy goes bankrupt after that. That's the end of Golden Boy.
Right? I mean, that's it. That's the long and short of it, son.
Right?
JC said, I thought they were going to try to work through it. Trust me, they're going to try to work through it, son. He ain't. Listen, because, the long and short of it is, he's got $250 million of a guarantee, $280 million or whatever he's got left over with this contract, right? Let's see here. Claudio Monreal says, Eric, though most contracts have some kind of clause in it where the contract says something about an act of God.
There ain't no act of God here, bro.
There ain't no act of God here, son. I mean, that contract is the contract.
Nobody's coming off the cross for this contract.
And I believe he's referring to the COVID thing. The COVID crisis going on.
Has nothing to do with it because
they can't put people in there. But DAZN, listen, and I could be way off about this, and I don't know. Again, I don't. DAZN doesn't collect any part of the gate, do they? Or do they?
I have no idea.
I don't know. It would be just like, does ESPN collect any part of the gate?
No.
Well, there you go.
No, because
they're the ones paying him.
They're the one. All they do is put up the money. Do is put up the money. Now,
so they rely on their subscriptions and everything like that. I don't believe that they get any part of the gate or anything like that.
But here's the thing: people talk about ESPN and they talk about Showtime and they talk about all these networks like Fox, whatever, right? Like, let's take ESPN, for instance.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, well, Fury Wilder 2 lost money. They were both guaranteed 20 million, which was bullshit because they were not guaranteed 20 million each. They were guaranteed 5 million each. Okay, that's misinformation, number one. Number two, Arum lost a ton of money on that. No, Arum paying them with ESPN's money. It's ESPN's money. Oh, well, ESPN lost a lot of money. Okay, who owns ESPN? Fucking Disney. Okay? Now, Disney got more money than God. Look, Google, the largest companies in the world, Disney's in the top 10, possibly, I think, even top 5. So, again, all the money that Disney made, because Disney also owns Marvel, how much money did those Avenger movies make? Did all those Marvel movies make over the years? Do you think Disney is going to cry if they lose fucking $10 million on an event? I'm not saying they're going to jump up and down about it, but do you think Disney is in any danger of, at the end of the year, being in the red?
Disney's going to stake all their money on, the Wilder fight. They're going to lose money on the Wilder fight. Are you serious?
That's like a fucking nickel, a nickel in their piggy bank. When you look at all the money that they have. So people like they blow everything out of proportion. They sensationalize everything. Everyone's an alarmist. Everyone's an alarmist. Like, oh, the sky is falling. This fight was supposed to do 20 million. It only did 19 and a half. Like, who gives a fuck? Disney's exactly G-Funk. Disney, they're losing tons of money on their parks and shit because of COVID. But again, they've been deep in the black for years. deep in the black for years.
Release another one of those cartoon movies out of Alice in Wonderland or whatever it is.
Wait till wave 2 of these Marvel movies comes out. Okay? And whether or not they're in the theaters or not, they'll sell them and people will have to buy them on their television sets. Doesn't make a difference. Those movies are gonna make millions and millions of dollars. Tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. So they're not crying over a friggin' pay-per-view event.
I'll tell you what, anything with that Disney label on it, it makes money. I mean, every time like a movie came out when we were going to the theaters and everything like that, when movies came out, if they have that Disney label on them, no matter how dumb or like, because I'll look at them and say, I'm not big into cartoons anyway, so I'll look at them and like, I don't know what's going on, but they're always number one, man.
And even DAZN is owned by a gigantic company as well, the Perform Group. That's a multi-billion-dollar company as well. But here's the thing. After a while, I mean, if something's going to, like ESPN's not losing money because obviously they have the UFC, they have all those other sports. After a while, the Perform Group is going to take a look at what's going on, like with boxing and DAZN, and they may just cut boxing loose eventually and just go and deal with the others. Like soccer is huge. Like all the other sports they cover worldwide,
much bigger than boxing.
Yeah, worldwide,
much bigger than boxing.
Worldwide, DAZN is doing pretty good. They're just not doing good here because they don't know how to market. They haven't been marketed very well here.
Jose De Leon says, talk about DAZN's premier opponents for Canelo. How's that Golden Boy's fault? They want him to fight Triple G. That's their big thing. So, and that's a very doable fight given the fact that both of them are in DAZN. Canelo doesn't want to fight him, and that's on Canelo. I mean, whatever. But he says, how's that Golden Boy's fault? How's what gold? I don't understand your question, though. What do you mean? How is it Golden Boy's fault?
It's Golden Boy's fault. Golden Boy lied to Canelo and they lied to DAZN.
Right.
That's why it's their
That's
fault.
Basically what it's looking like.
Now, in defense to your comment, I will concede this point. Canelo should have been fought Triple G right from the jump because, again, the guy's on the downside. He was already on the downside, not to take anything away from the victory. He was already on the downside when you fought him the first 2 times. He's not getting any younger. He came off a horrible performance against Derevyanchenko where he got actually beat up. He's the biggest money fight out there for you. Why would you not want to jump on that? Oh, well, I don't like the guy. I don't want to give him another payday. Well, then beat him up in the ring like I said on Sunday. Take it out on him. Take all the aggravation and anger out on him in the ring. Retire him. and get paid the most amount of money that you can, more so than any other fight out there right now for you.
Right.
It's a win-win for everybody. So
Yeah.
Canelo is not without blame here. I will give you that point.
But listen, man. I mean, let's be for real for a minute here. You have a guy who signed a contract for $365 million, and they're arguing about money. You're not going to get a lot of sympathy from me. I don't care who you are. You're not going to get a lot of sympathy from me. It just is what it is. Golden Boy, they're making more money than anybody else as well. DAZN's making a lot of money. Listen, the bottom line is, hey, you guys are all quibbling. You guys got $365 million, and you guys are quibbling about it. I don't understand that. Wheelchair, let's see here. Yeah, Wheelchair Manjon says another thing, they are reading what's reported from people who don't know either. That's actually incorrect, man. Kevin Ioli's a very, very credible source. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Reynoso already did.
Yeah, Eddie Reynoso was in there as well. So
Eddie Reynoso's Canelo's manager, and he's pretty much verified all of this stuff. So
Jose De Leon says they also wanted Khabib, Oscar, and Masvidal. Dana White actually came out and debunked that. There's been no communication with Khabib, Masvidal, or anybody like that. So nothing like that.
Okay, GGG did deny Canelo the last time. Okay, but Canelo said no the first 2 times.
Right.
Okay. Of course, like GGG is just coming off a really tough fight where he got beat up and stuff. Of course, his mind's going to be in a different place now. He's not ready. He's not ready for to jump right back in there with Canelo now. After that questionable victory, I thought he lost clearly, but I mean.
All right, and this is interesting too. So, and it kind of explains a lot of things here. It says, as part of the deal it made to bring Alvarez's fight to DAZN, Golden Boy negotiated another deal with the streaming service to put its other shows on DAZN. So the fact that they put Canelo on DAZN was only one part of the arrangement. The fact that the Golden Boy got to put his rest of his stable on there, that was another issue. And he says this was critical for Golden Boy because less than 3 weeks prior to Alvarez signing with DAZN, HBO had announced it would no longer do boxing. And at that point, Top Rank, PBC, they both had television deals. Top Rank with ESPN, PBC with Fox and Showtime. He said it would have been a killer for Golden Boy not to deal with a broadcast service. And he's 100% right. He's 100% right, man. It also goes on to say ESPN Deportes quoted Alvarez manager Eddie Reynoso as saying, it would be a lie to say that we have a great relationship with Golden Boy. We already had some disagreements behind the scenes. There wasn't a great relationship. Alvarez and DAZN did not have a contract with each other. The contracts at issue in this case were between Alvarez, Golden Boy, and De La Hoya on one side, and Golden Boy, De La Hoya, and DAZN on the other.
And then people will say, well, why did Mayweather have an actual contract with Showtime? Well, there's a reason why. Mayweather's a promoter. He promoted his own fights.
Yeah, I mean, he just broke off with Arum and just never signed with a promoter. You know what I mean?
He's his own promoter. I mean, he Mayweather Promotions. You know, like fighters don't have deals with broadcasters directly. They just don't. Promoters do.
Claudio Monreal says DAZN overpaid for Canelo. He's not the Mayweather. He doesn't have the personality. He could have learned English, but he doesn't. He's not that good with the media. Also, listen. Here's the long and short of it. We just don't know. That's the fact. Again, listen, you could say they overpaid for him. They didn't overpay for him. Nobody saw the COVID crisis coming. All right, nobody saw this coming. But the fact that this deal, the way it was put together, it's not good. And there's a big difference. Just for 1 second, Beeb.
I'm sorry.
There's a big difference between Mayweather's deal, just like Beeb was saying just a second ago. There's a big deal between Mayweather's deal and this deal right here. Mayweather dealt specifically with Showtime. Canelo deals with Golden Boy. Golden Boy then deals with DAZN. That's the deal. And that is the biggest difference.
Mayweather's a fucking genius. Because here's the thing. Think about this. Let's just break this down. So DAZN's giving Golden Boy $40 million. And of that $40 million, Canelo gets 35. So De La Hoya and Golden Boy get $5 million.
Yeah.
Floyd, being the promoter, keeps all the Showtime money and doesn't have to give it to a promoter because he's the promoter. So he's getting a promotional fee. That promotional fee that the fighter pays the promoter, he wasn't paying that. So he kept all the money. Except for what he had to pay his trainers and stuff like that, obviously, and his manager or whatever. I'm sure Ellaby's drawing a salary. But here's the thing. Mayweather being the promoter cut out the middleman. That just adds to the his genius level in terms of handling his career. He was the best businessman of all time in the sport of boxing. There's no question about that.
Well, and the thing is, it says here, let's see here. Where was it? If he does, okay, so let's say they sue and they come to an agreement to just break the contract and he goes off and as a free agent, would you be shocked? I mean, would it, if he went back to DAZN and said, hey, let's do a contract again and then cut out the middleman and just did it himself?
Who?
And I wonder if he's angling for that. Canelo.
He can't do that because he has a promotional contract. He can't do that.
Well, if they decided to break the contract,
okay.
If it broke the contract in a perfect world,
yeah, and he can be and he decided I'm just going to be my own, represent myself. What? Absolutely. Can I tell you one thing right now? Outlaw made a statement. He said Reynoso is full of shit. Why does he get a pass for not knowing what's going on? He's Canelo's manager. Sounds like he's getting checks from Canelo without doing his job as a manager. I'm going to defend Reynoso because Reynoso is looking at the contract that Golden Boy has with Canelo, and that contract says that Canelo has the right to choose and refuse his opponents. De La Hoya lied to Canelo and lied to DAZN. So if you're being lied to, then that's not your fault. He was lied to. In that article, it says the contract that Canelo has with Golden Boy says he can choose his own opponent because he can choose and refuse his own opponents. It's written right in the article. So that's not Reynoso's fault. Problem here is De La Hoya lied to both sides. De La Hoya is a scumbag, like I said last week. He's a scumbag. He's an addictive, sick man. And people like De La Hoya, they act irrationally because their mind is going a mile a minute. They have no ability to focus because they can't control their impulses. And when you're like that, your impulses, like what does an addict do? He lies, steals, and cheats everyone he deals with. He's a sick person. He should, and like there'd be times when he'd be gone for long stretches of time, and he wasn't even running the show over at Golden Boy. What's the guy's name there?
I know who you're talking about. He went to PBC, or he was going to go to PBC.
No. What's the guy the guy that's the matchmaker over there? The Gonzalez guy. What the hell's his name?
I don't know, but go ahead.
He runs the show over there. I can't even think of his fucking name.
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
I can't believe I forgot his name, but he runs the show over there. You know?
It says here, let's see here. I think, who was it? Let me run back here. Yeah, Claudio Monreal says, but for the $20, the fight math doesn't really add up. That not
Eric
many
Gomez.
people bought Eric Gomez. Yeah,
Thank
many
you.
people bought the yearly subscription. So I'm guessing what he's trying to say is that for the money that you pay for DAZN, how were they going to pay for the subscriptions and everything like that? We'll take $20 and times it by 1.5 million. It's $30 million. You know what I mean? That's that's $30 million. That's a lot of money. And you're talking about people who, just subscribe for $20. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money. And that's 1.5. I mean, they could go higher than that to watch that fight for $20 and I get a whole month of boxing for free. Yeah. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all. Do I think they overpaid for him? I've always thought they overpaid for him. Yeah, I think they probably overpaid for him. But yeah, man, I tell you, it's crazy. Yeah, he's a wheelchair got us, man. Wheelchair had our backs.
Yeah, Eric Gomez. Yeah.
Yeah. let's see here. Outlaw had made a comment up, and let me see. He says, how do we know Oscar De La Hoya lied? You seen the contract? Well, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the lawsuit.
He did lie because
that's what it's alleging in the lawsuit. We're only telling you what it's alleging in the lawsuit.
He did lie because the Zone said that. Like the Zone said that De La Hoya promised things that Canelo did not agree to.
Yeah. And Outlaw says, it's obvious you don't like Oscar, but that doesn't mean he's wrong.
Why should we like Oscar? He's not a good promoter. Why would you like somebody who's a liar and a scumbag?
Outlaw likes his pictures, man. Why don't you stop it? He likes his pictures.
Why would you like? Why would I like him? Give me
what's to like about him?
Give me a reason to like him. What is to like about him? He was a phenomenal fighter, Hall of Fame fighter. He's a lousy person, and he's a lousy promoter.
Oh, stop it, Beeb. He's got a family. He's got kids watching this. What's the matter with you?
What is to like about him? No, I don't know. It's not what Canelo's lawyers are saying. It's not.
It's in the lawsuit. I mean, it's not.
His manager is saying it. The Zone is saying it.
Fighters have said it.
If
we've had other fighters, yeah.
If the Zone.
They all jump ship to PBC.
If the Zone said
so great,
if the Zone said that Oscar told them that Canelo's aware that you can pick and choose his opponents, and there's going to be no problem with that, and Canelo doesn't know that because in his contract it says something entirely different, then Oscar lied. I mean, this isn't again. Why does Outlaw defending Golden Boy, man? This isn't hard to figure out. If you can't figure it out, then you don't want to figure it out. it's like you find out your girlfriend cheated on you, and you're like, nah. You know what really happened? She slipped. The guy slipped and fell, and his dick just fell inside her vagina. She was asleep when it happened. She didn't even know.
Didn't even know.
She didn't even know.
That happens.
Like she didn't really cheat. She didn't really cheat on me. I mean, the guy just accidentally fell inside her with his cock.
Georgie says,
excuse my language if kids are watching. Which they should.
Oscar's kids are watching. Yeah. What are you doing? Georgie says, where's the contract? Listen, we don't have access to the contract. We have access to the lawsuit, not the contract.
We're only going.
I can only tell you what the lawsuit alleges. That
we're only going off of what Canelo said and his manager said.
His lawyers, And
De La Hoya is not refuting any of it.
No.
He's not refuting any of it. We already know De La Hoya's history dealing with contracts. He lost all the PBC fighters because he didn't even know he didn't have them under contract. He's an idiot. He dips in and out. He'll be gone for months at a time, and Eric Gomez is running the show for him. He's incompetent. Bob Arum's 80-something years old. He knows every single thing that's going on in his company because he's always there, always involved.
Georgie says allegations until the contract is shown. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. It's all allegations. You're correct. You're 100% correct. It's allegations, son.
But again, the empirical data suggests that De La Hoya lied.
That's what the lawsuit is alleging. That's what we're talking about here. No one's sitting here accusing him. Listen, I didn't file the contract. Listen, I didn't file the lawsuit.
If De La Hoya didn't lie, you know what he would be doing right now? He would be coming out and saying, Canelo never had the right to pick and choose his opponents. That's a lie. He's not saying that. He's not saying that. All he's saying is we're going to work it out, meaning I fucked up. Now I got to fucking bullshit my way out of this. Translation.
Let me ask you a question, and somebody alluded to this in the chat. Would it go a long way if they just said, let's get whatever fight done, and Golden Boy says, if the Zone's not going to pay you the 35, we'll pay you the 35, and let's just get on with this?
Well,
to me, he's right. That would save a lot of face. I don't think that happens, but I'm just saying I think that saves a lot of face.
What I think is going to happen, and this is just my opinion, I think Golden Boy's in breach of contract here. I
don't know.
I strongly speculate that.
Yeah.
And the reason why the case was dismissed was, now I know why the case was dismissed, because Canelo included DAZN in the lawsuit. DAZN can't be in a lawsuit because Canelo does not have a contract with DAZN. He has a contract with Golden Boy. So the lawsuit should have just had Golden Boy on it. So I think another.
And Oscar came out and blamed Golden Boy or blamed DAZN for this whole thing.
Exactly, because he's a scumbag.
Oh,
so this is what's going to happen. A new lawsuit's going to be put forth with Canelo against Golden Boy, and I think Golden Boy's in breach because he made a promise on behalf of Canelo to DAZN, and now Canelo supposedly relinquished his rights, according to Golden Boy, to pick and choose his opponents, but that's not what's in the contract. There's nothing in Canelo's contract with Golden Boy that says that. It's quite the opposite. So now, Golden Boy, they breached the contract because now they made a deal with DAZN. They have an agreement, a separate deal with DAZN, and they contradicted the contract they had with Canelo. So based off of that, Canelo has a very strong argument to get out of this contract with Golden Boy. And as you said, he could deal strictly with DAZN, just like how Cotto, when he left Top Rank, he was just doing fight to fight with everybody. He wasn't signed on to a long-term deal with any promoter. He was just going from promoter to promoter. You know what I mean? He was doing fight-by-fight deals with people.
Yeah, it's again, and Georgie says, well, we need the facts and everything. I get it. I get it. Listen, I'm just telling you what the lawsuit says and the allegations in the lawsuit are being made.
You don't think that De La Hoya lied here? Then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. De La Hoya's had issues with Canelo for a long time now. Why do you think that is? Why do you think? I mean, all you got to do is look at the track record. He lost his whole stable. He lost his whole stable because he's incompetent.
Yeah. Basically, that's what it is. Georgie says they all lie. Listen, it doesn't excuse anything.
What is Canelo's motive to lie? I mean, he's like, why would he lie about that when he's always been able to pick and choose his opponents. This never was a problem until recently when DAZN decided, hey, no, we don't want this guy. We don't want that guy. So like, how did Canelo lie here? Explain to me what Canelo lied about, because up until now, he was picking and choosing his opponents. So,
yeah, I will tell you this. I will tell you this. There's got to be some fault heaped on Canelo as well.
Yeah, because he never should have signed with Golden Boy. He should have.
Stop it. So, but what I'm saying is, $35 million for $35 million. You really think you're going to get $35 million for fighting Avni Yildirim? Would anybody in their right mind pay you to fight that? I mean, there's got to be some listen, man. You've got to fight some quality opposition. And not that Yildirim's not quality. He's not quality opposition for Canelo.
Well,
and that's got to be taken into consideration here.
Again, blame Golden Boy. Blame Golden Boy. That's all you can do is you have to blame Golden Boy. They should have all this should have been worked out when the deal was made. That's all I'm saying. If Golden Boy, let me ask you this. If your boss walked up to you tomorrow and said, Eric, you know what? You only got to come in 2 hours a day, and we're going to pay you the same salary. What are you going to tell him? You're going to say, no, come on, man. I can't do that. I want to work the full 8. If someone, we're in an era now where fighters are getting paid big money to fight guys who you would think that they wouldn't get paid as much to fight. Like look at Berto when Berto was on HBO. Look at the guys he was fighting and look what he was getting paid. Look what Chad Dawson was getting paid. Look what Floyd Mayweather got paid to fight Robert Guerrero. Was Floyd, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
this whole thing about overpaying and this and that, I understand what people say when they what people mean when they say that. But again, you're worth what the market will pay you. If the market will pay you a specific amount, then that's what your market that's what the market value is. If you can negotiate a deal where you're going to get where they're telling you all fighters have mandatory minimums. Now, if they worked out that Canelo's mandatory minimum was $35 million, that's Golden Boy's fault. That's Golden Boy's fault.
That's what it seems like, according to the lawsuit. That's what it seems like, you know.
And you can't blame DAZN because DAZN was saying to themselves, "Yeah, we'll give you $40 million, but we have a say on the opponent," and that was never relayed to Canelo.
Right
now, people say, "How do you know that? How do you know that?" It's not hard to figure that out because we wouldn't be here if it was.
Right.
We wouldn't be here if that's what it was.
If it was just
there would be no lawsuit. There would be no lawsuit.
I mean, how often do we see like contracts like this and, you know, where they're like long-term kind of where we're hung up on a contract? We don't ever see this unless there's a problem. Santiago Media asks, do you believe the arbitration happens if they break up between Golden Boy and Canelo is inevitable? Listen, I think it's a long way from that. I think it may be. I think it may be. I know Golden Boy will fight to keep this contract intact because he's their money guy.
But they're in breach. They're in breach.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It could be.
Again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know everything about this case. I don't know every little detail.
Right.
But I will say this from what I know right now, until more information comes out that can prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Golden Boy is in breach.
It sounds like based on the information we have here. You know what I mean?
Golden Boy's
again, we're not lawyers, but that's what it sounds like to me.
Golden Boy's in breach, and Canelo can get out. I think Canelo can get out of this contract, and I think he should get out of this contract. I would run for the hills because I will say this: for the last 2 years, maybe even 2.5 to 3 years, this relationship has not been good. And when you're having to worry about the business end, which as a fighter, you're supposed to only worry about preparing yourself for the fights and, you know, being the best you can be and staying in shape, that's your responsibility. And now if you have to start worrying about the business end of things,
yeah,
that's a problem. You got to put yourself. Same thing with Andre Ward. Andre Ward sat out for almost 2 years. Nonito Donaire sat out for 2 years because they wanted to be treated fairly. So
Jose De Leon is a real proponent of Golden Boy, man. He loves Oscar, man. He said Canelo signed his name on a dotted line, point blank, period. No judge is going to believe Canelo had no idea.
He signed his name on the dotted line with his contract to Golden Boy, which states that he can refuse and choose his opponents. And then De La Hoya went to DAZN and lied and said that wasn't the case. He said to DAZN, yeah, you have the right to choose and refuse Canelo's opponents. Yeah, he lied. That's it. Point blank. Period.
Canelo got a lawsuit from him. Yeah, he does.
He does.
And Oscar defended him on court. Yeah, we understand that.
He does. Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't give you the right to fuck him over now. In other words, you can't take a hooker. You can't take a hooker off the street and feed her, but yet you go back out and pimp her out. But then you're saying, hey, at least I'm feeding you, at least I'm sheltering you. Yeah, but you're pimping me out too. You're not giving me a good quality of life.
I don't know that that's the best example, Beeb. I mean, because if you take her off and you're feeding her and everything like that, I mean, what else?
Please. Please. Enough with your misogyny.
I'm just saying.
Enough with your misogyny.
If she wasn't eating, I mean, and now you're feeding her.
What do you mean, Oscar? What do you mean, Oscar defended him in court? What do you like? No, he didn't. He's not.
Like he stood up. He was like his barrister.
Oscar's not a lawyer. He can't defend anybody. He can't defend anybody.
And by the way, he was in breach of that contract. He was in breach of that contract because they ended up.
De La Hoya was a part of it.
They ended up paying the other promotional company.
You know how stupid De La Hoya is? He signed Manny Pacquiao when Manny Pacquiao was still signed to Top Rank.
He did, didn't he?
And then Manny Pacquiao had to pay Golden Boy a portion of his purse because De La Hoya is a scumbag. Why don't you understand that? It's not the first time De La Hoya tried to steal a fighter from a promoter. He's tried to steal Manny Pacquiao from Top Rank when Top Rank fucking had Manny Pacquiao signed to a long-term deal. Because De La Hoya is a fucking idiot and he's a scumbag. Anyone that defends him is fucking, I don't even want to say what you are. You're fucking questionable at best if you defend De La Hoya.
Stop it. Come on. You know.
De La Hoya probably lied to Canelo saying, "Oh, we'll take care of this for you. Don't worry. We'll buy you out of that deal. Don't worry about it. You're all set."
I think it's funny, man. I think it's crazy, man. I can't wait to see what happens and to see what comes out of this. My guess,
Canelo is not lying about this. I just don't think he is.
You know,
there's no motive to lie about this.
Georgie's asking if we're taking calls. No, we're not. Not this time. You know, it's a big deal. Like I said, man, with Canelo doing this, my guess is that they don't honor this contract in court. You know what I'm saying? When this is all said and done, you know, because everybody at the end of the day, they just want this to work. They want Canelo on DAZN. DAZN wants Canelo. Golden Boy wants to honor this contract because they're making money off him. They're making money with DAZN and everything like that. They just want it to work. I think this will work. I honestly do. I honestly think that this, you know, the fact that this got thrown out or whatever, they may refile, but like De La Hoya was saying the other day, this gives us a chance to kind of go back to that drawing board and try to repair this, man.
Can this relationship actually be repaired?
Oh, yeah, without question.
You think so?
Oh, pfft.
If you were Canelo right now, how would you feel, to be honest?
Dude, listen, the bottom line speaks the loudest. You're talking about $365 million. Who do you dislike that much that you wouldn't do something with them for $365 million?
Well, he wouldn't fight fucking Triple G for $40 million.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, for $365 million, what do you hate anybody that much that you wouldn't do business with them and you got that kind of money? I don't. I mean, that's the thing, man. You're talking about a lot of money, man.
So you think because the money is so great that this has to get worked out?
No question.
All right, that's a fair point.
No question. I mean, think about like $365 million. You're not getting that anywhere else. You're not getting it anywhere else. You're not going to go to Top Rank and get that money. You're not going to go to PBC and get that money.
But Oscar comes out of this looking real shady, though.
He looks shady.
Well,
do you think he minds looking shady? Son, this is a guy who got his picture taken in fishnets.
Well, here's the thing, though.
We had a video of him getting utensils.
Let me ask you this. But here's what one thing that you're not taking into consideration, or at least I don't think.
Sent him out as Christmas cards.
I don't think you're taking this in consideration. If this is breach of contract, okay, Canelo can sue Golden Boy for $280. He can bankrupt him.
And then he's not going to get it. Well, he's not going to get it. I mean, look, how much sued OJ.
Well, let me ask you this.
How much money have they got?
Well, let me ask you this. How much would he get if he was to sue them? They would go bankrupt, right?
How
much cash on hand do you think Golden Boy Promotions has?
Not much.
If you were to guess, maybe 30 million?
No.
10 million?
I wouldn't.
10 million?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. He wouldn't get near. It would be eating up lawyers.
So he would bankrupt them, and then he would end up getting no cash. So at the end of the day, it wouldn't be worth it.
No, not at all. Not at all. Look at like the. I mean, he could do it to be a douche, you know. But like, look at. I mean, would he hire a Maloney firm? I can't imagine those guys are cheap. You know, those lawyers that he hired up there, man. I can't. You know, Outlaw says Oscar's worth over $200 million. Yeah, I know what the web says, but what he actually
but how
has,
much?
but,
How
but
much
he's
of that
not
is
Golden Boy. That may be what Oscar's worth, not necessarily what Golden Boy is worth.
How much is that? How much is that liquid? Like
Yeah,
when people say they're worth a specific amount, like for instance, Floyd's worth all that money, but a lot of it is cars and houses and shit. Look what happens when Floyd tries to sell those cars. He loses shitloads of money on them.
mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Like he tried to sell that Vector that he bought for like what, $4 million or something like that.
Very rarely do like cars appreciate. That's what people don't understand.
Cars,
like cars
jewelry.
don't. Yeah, none of that stuff appreciates.
It
always depreciates if anything. It's let's see here. Let me look at the other comments here. Claudia Monreal says Canelo has a fighter who allegedly signed a matchroom. Would not be surprised if he goes over there. Yeah, I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
I don't know, man. I could see Canelo getting out of this contract and just going with somebody else.
Rob87 says we can't believe everything we read online. Listen, dude, this is from I'll say it again here. This is from a credible source, Kevin Iole on Yahoo. And what we're doing is we're reading the actual legal documents that were filed. Those are all factual.
I mean,
we're giving our takes on it and what we think happened and everything like that. But what I'm saying is the stuff that we read it's all factual, all from the court documents and everything.
I mean,
like
if you don't
we
think
just made this up,
if you're not really strongly skeptical of De La Hoya's truth here, I think De La Hoya lied to both parties.
I think he did too. And that's what the lawsuit alleges.
It's pretty evident. If both sides are saying if both sides were saying that they were promised that different things were said to each of them, and De La Hoya is trying to telling one guy one thing and telling another guy another thing, and both guys are saying, "Oh, that's not true," whatever, or we thought that was the case. If both people that De La Hoya is dealing with are saying that he's lying, then what's the question here? De La Hoya is lying.
Well, allegedly. I agree with you. If you ask my opinion, yeah, it sounds like he's lying to me. There is okay. Let me rephrase that. Everybody lies, but we're dealing with this today. We're dealing with this issue. We're not lying about did you eat the last cookie or did you break my friggin' face yesterday? Did you knock over my friggin' glass of water when I was? We're talking about this specific issue. Okay, we're not talking about anything else right now. We're not talking about the clenbuterol. We're not talking about that. Right. We're talking about this specific issue. This is what we're talking about. And for this specific issue, in my opinion, De La Hoya lied. Yeah.
To Canelo, and he lied to DAZN.
That's
because both sides are saying that they were alleging that they were lied to.
Yeah, that's my opinion. That's my opinion as well.
The circumstantial evidence is very strong to suggest that De La Hoya lied here. I'm 99.9% sure that De La Hoya lied here. Now you could talk about everything else, but in this specific issue, I think De La Hoya is in the wrong.
I tell you what, this is really what we have to get past here. Georgie says they all lie. Outlaw says all promoters all promoters are liars and scumbags. Listen, here's the deal. We have to get past that in the sense that why is that okay?
Everyone lies.
Why is that okay? That's not okay, son.
Everyone lies, but then they get sued and they get punished for their lies.
I hear people say this all the time. And, we'll talk about the president here for a second here. Everybody says, well, we know Trump lies, but politicians lie. Okay, that's still not okay.
There's repercussions to lying.
Right. That's not okay. And you people should not accept that. We should not accept that. You know what I mean? The public should not accept that. The fact that people, if we say, well, they all lie, well, that gives them a pass to lie. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let me say this. They all lie. But that doesn't mean you have to believe them. That doesn't mean you have to accept their lies. That doesn't mean you can't. That doesn't mean you can't challenge their lies. That doesn't mean you shouldn't call out their lies. So that's that. Listen, no one's saying Canelo's an angel. No one's saying Canelo's the most upstanding citizen. But when a judge is listening to this case, he's not worrying about his old case with his old situation with his promoter. He's not worried about the clenbuterol situation. He's going to look at this case specifically,
right?
And all the evidence points, in my opinion, to De La Hoya lying to both sides.
Georgie says, just give him the blame equally. Give him what blame equally?
There is no equal blame here.
There's no legal blame here.
There is no, like legally. Okay,
he's already been punished for what he did.
Here's the thing.
Already been punished.
If I'm a horrible driver and I get in 55 accidents, okay, then someone slams into my car out of the blue and it wasn't my fault. Can that driver say, "Oh, well, you're a horrible driver anyways. You're always getting accidents"? Yeah, okay, but this time it was your fault. The times it was my fault, my insurance went up and I got surcharged. But I'm not going to get surcharged this time because it was your fault. So, Canelo, for the rest of his career, his name will be tarnished in a lot of people's minds because they're not going to believe the clenbuterol thing. But that doesn't mean that that's going to have any effect or it should have any weight on what's happening here. In this situation, Canelo is not wrong.
Dwayne M says, all promoters lie, but why should that be used as an excuse to defend them? 100% right. I agree with you. That's what we just said. So yeah, BB, I guess in closing here, man, I think this will be interesting. What do you think happens? You think they actually break the contracts in court and that it goes that far? Or?
Well, you kind of swayed my opinion here because there's so much money at stake. So Canelo can sit there and say, yeah, I could bankrupt this guy, but then I got to go find another promoter. And there's no guarantee I'm going to get $35 million a fight.
No.
I'm never going to get that anywhere else. I'm not even going to get, no one's going to give me $15 million to fight Rocky Fielding. Anywhere else, if I fight Rocky Fielding, I'm probably getting $5 million, right? So I think at the end of the day, you made a good point and you kind of swayed my opinion here. At first I was saying, yeah, Canelo may sue and get himself out of this contract because in my opinion, there is a strong case for breach of contract here. And I think if he really had the right legal team around him, he could get out of this contract. But at the end of the day, DAZN's going to keep paying De La Hoya as long as De La Hoya can keep producing Canelo for them.
Right. So,
and here's the thing you have to look at too if you're Canelo. What fighter out there right now from 160 to 168 would you favor over Canelo right now? There's a strong argument that Canelo can beat everyone at 160 and he can beat everyone at 168. Arguably he could beat everyone at 175 except for probably Better Beef.
I think he murks Better Beef. Yeah, I think he does. Listen, man. I mean,
so anyone he fights, there's he'd be a favorite over, except for probably Better Beef in my opinion. But
yeah, I mean, there's too much there. For me anyway, there's too much money there for you guys to not come to some kind of amicable agreement. 365 million. I mean, that's a lot of change, man. We suing for like what, 280? It's a lot of money, man. You can't mess with that. It's a lot of money. I mean, like I said, man, there ain't nobody I wouldn't do business with for 365 million. If I'm guaranteed 365 million, we're putting that aside. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, listen, man, we'll keep you posted on all this. We'll make sure to tune in on Sunday at 7 p.m. We have our live show where you can call in and everything like that. Until then, man, if we have breaking news between now and then, we'll come back in and let you guys know about it. But until then, we will see you guys on Sunday at 7 o'clock. You guys take care.
All right, guys. Take care.